Good morning, and welcome to Soluble, America's Political Central. We'd like to start out this morning by having a moment of silence for the tragic mass shooting that occurred in Texas on yesterday. Today's political discussion is going to be to vote or not to vote, because that is definitely the question in this primary season heading into the fall elections. As you see, once again, as I said, this is what happens when you have minority rule. Republicans in America care only about party. They have put party over country. And the only way to stop this political party from destroying America or from steadily eroding American values, steadily tearing down American values, is to vote. Now, whether you vote Republican or Democrat, that's your business. As I said, you know my stance. And for most Negroes in America, I think that, the fact that the Republican Party is a states' right party, that's definitely a non-starter for most Negroes in America. But as it relates to the tragedy that occurred on yesterday in Uvalde, Texas, once again, it all boils down to the vote. Republicans don't care about mass shootings in America. And this is what minority rule looks like. Once again, this is minority rule. Now, we have to start at the state level, because all seats that are acquired or that are being filled in the Senate start at the state level. So we have to understand that there's a very importance in voting at the state level as well as the federal level. Negroes in America, when we turn out, we make a difference. When we turn out to vote in mass numbers, we make a difference. It's time to make a difference for these 19 children and 2 adults who were killed in this tragedy. Once again, this flawed logic from the NRA. There's never a good guy around. There's never a good guy around to save the day. To put on a cape and swoop in from out of nowhere is a figment of all of our imaginations. But it's as I said, it's the flawed logic of the NRA, which is a very right-wing or right-leaning group. They're definitely pro-Republican. Now, just one more reason, as I said, to go hard at the state level. But here's the thing you must understand. We can't just make it a one-hit wonder vote. In order to change this country in the trajectory, the downward spiral that we seem to be on, being mostly led by the Republican Party, we have to vote. And it can't be a one-hit wonder. We have to vote to get them out, and we have to vote to keep them out. Guns have made cowards of men in America. That's the bottom line. Before the assault weapons ban was taken off the books, taken out of law, we never saw this. We never saw it on this scale in the 90s when the assault weapons ban was in effect. So here it is, just one more reason. We don't need to let it happen again. There is a way to stop it. Democracy only works for the good of mankind when we exercise our right to vote. That is the foundation upon which democracy is based. So Negroes in America who constantly feel like you're getting the short end of the stick, who constantly feel like you're almost at the top of the mountain and you're getting pushed back down only to start over again. We have to keep voting. It has to become a yearly affair. It has to become an annual event, whether it's every 4 years, every 2 years, or what have you. We must go out and exercise our right at the ballot box to vote. We owe it to these individuals to stop this. Who knows? The next time it could be one of us. And that's another vote taken away. Whether it be Republican or Democrat, let it be. But it's another vote taken away. We're not going to say that, well, oh, those are Republican voters that got shot and killed, so it's no big deal. It's a big deal. As humanitarians, we can't come down onto the same level as Republicans. That's something that they might be tempted to say. That all those people that got killed, they were just liberals. So, it really doesn't matter. They're really doing us a favor. We have to set the bar higher. We can't go tit for tat with Republicans. We can't be on the same level as them. We have to come up. We have to elevate. And as I said, the only way we're going to get their attention and keep their attention is to vote. It's to vote them out. It's to vote them out. When we go to the polls, we do make a difference. Now we have 19 children that are dead. 19. And 2 adults. And it's a shame. It's a shame that this is happening in America. But what's even more shameful is the people have the power. That's what this democracy is founded upon. The people have the power. We don't serve a monarchy or a dictator or an autocrat. As 45 tried to make this nation, to make it great again, off the thinking of an autocrat. You'll never fit that into a democracy. And that's why he's gone. But we still have work to do. Not only do we get him out, but we keep him out. And there's still work to do. Because a Republican governing body, whether it's in the House, whether it's in the Senate, is going to take America down when it comes to gun violence in America. We haven't voted it in. But because we haven't voted, it's there. Persisting. Continuing to rear its wicked, ugly head on American citizens. Get in touch with, learn the ways of a judicial, legislative, and executive branch of government. Get in touch with how all 3 branches work, together and separately, how they work for you and how they work against you. This system will never work. We will never push to be that shiny city on a hill, that great democracy. That always takes work. It's always a work in progress because we can always find ways to make it better. Through compromise. But the Republicans don't want that. So it's time for us as the American citizens to send a clear message to Washington. How many more have to die? If you don't vote, as I said, you get what you get. The primaries are upon us. We got the big linebacker in Georgia. We got him out of the way. Purdue is gone. Kemp is no better, but at least Stacey Abrams now in the fall, she'll be running against someone who doesn't deny that there was a free and fair election that was held in November of 2020. Now, the prevailing thought amongst Republican circles is that the only way to beat a Trump is you have to cheat. Imagine that. How foolish that is. The only way that you can beat a Trump right now amongst Republicans, the prevailing thought is that you have to cheat. There's no other way you can beat him. We all know that's BS. But in order for us to cement that, in order for us to make it stick and be a matter of fact, we're going to have to go back and do it again. We have to go back and do it again this fall. And then in 2024, if he has a nerve to get on the ticket, we have to do it again. We have work to do, but it's not hard work. It's not laborious work because there's so many ways that you can cast your ballot. For working parents, for working single mothers, working single fathers, it could be a lot to juggle your everyday life, keep your everyday schedule going, and then find time to vote. So therefore, as I said, exercise any and all whatever way that's convenient for you, whether it's mail-in, whether it's absentee. To vote is to bring change. To not vote is to keep the status quo. And we see what that is now. We see what that is. We have the majority. We need to keep the majority. We may have Republican moles in the Democratic Party in the forms of Senator Manchin, in the form of Senator Sinema. But we can't get discouraged because that's what it's designed for. It's designed to keep you or get you discouraged. So you feel as if, what's the point in voting? Don't let it happen. Stay steadfast. At the most, in the November 2020 elections, at the most, that 45 could pull to his cause and get behind him was, as I said, some 70-odd million. Then you had Republicans who were the never Trumpers. You had some that didn't vote. So it's right there in front of you. It's right there in front of you. Never on this scale have we had Republicans who would not vote for a sitting president for a second term of their own party until now. So that tells you that there's something very wrong with this man being in office. He never acted presidential. He never succumbed or became that presidential figure in the Oval Office as far as decorum, speech, empathy, a willingness to bring the American people together. This is the Republican Party today. And even though he's had mixed results in the primaries on the candidates that he's backed, this is still the party of Trump until we see what happens in 2024. And then even if he's not on the ballot, we have to remember how low they went. I mean, it was already a racist and bigoted party. And then it went way, way, way extreme. So far to the right that it just, it did a teeter-totter to the other side, cannot come back down. That's how far to the right it went. Off the rails to the right. And here we are. Gun violence in America does not have to be a way of life. And right now you have to ask yourself, if the Republican Party is a party of mass shootings in America, what can we do to stop it? It's simple. And I think you know the answer to that by now. It's to vote. It can't be a one-off. That's what they're counting on. at the most 70 million, 71 to no more than through their weight behind Donald Trump. Let's let them get another candidate. Let's let them get another nominee. But we still must send the same strong message, because I said this party has put party over country. And it's dangerous because with the Republicans, it's not the best man for the job. It's the best Caucasian for the job, the best Caucasian man for the job. And those are two different things. That's dangerous for America. Because when we put the best qualified nominee on the ballot, that reflects compromise. That reflects a willingness to work across the aisles to try to get things done for the good of the people. They're only sitting in that seat. They're only filling that chair because you haven't voted them out. They're not holding the chair hostage with a handgun or through threats of intimidation. They're only sitting in that chair, in that senatorial seat, because you haven't voted them out. So at the state level, we have work to do. That's where it really begins. We tend to really get excited when it comes to the presidential election. It's understandable. You know, we're choosing a new leader. We're picking a new leader. It's out with the old and in with the new. Or it's out with this party and it's time to vote our party in. We've never seen this before, but we know that it's becoming more and more and more extreme in our politics. It's becoming more bitter. The senators, the House members are coming more embattled instead of looking for the truth. They're only looking to score political points for their party. And that's, as I said, dangerous for America. So look at the consequences thereof if you vote and if you don't vote. Here we are in the year 2022. Democracy is on the brink. It's on the edge. And if we don't vote and it goes off the cliff, if it goes over the side and plummets, then we could possibly be seeing something in America like we're seeing in Ukraine today. It is what it is. America is a melting pot of different racial, ethnic groups. And they're better off for it. It's become a greater country because of it, not less greater. Is it great again? Ask yourself and make a decision before it's too late. November is fast approaching. How many more lives have to be lost through senseless gun violence before we can go into the ballot box and make a difference? Because if we don't, it's going to continue to happen. This obsession with guns, this madness to keep a firearm, is a figment of the Republicans' imagination that the government is going to take their guns and somehow they'll be defenseless to defend themselves against the government. Nonsense, because the government is of the people. And the vast majority of people that go to vote have no desire to take away the Second Amendment. But these assault weapons, right now, this is minority rule. The assault weapons are prevailing in America and killing innocents, killing our best and brightest, killing our future scholars, our future scientists, our future doctors, our future inventors, because of this horrible weapon. where there would be no mass shootings if this law was taken away, was repealed, it was pushed back to the time in the 90s where there was an assault weapons ban. So we lifted the ban, we did away with the ban. And now what? Now we take assault rifles, assault weapons, and we stockpile them in our homes, sitting around waiting for the day that will never come, when the government is coming knocking on your door to seize all your guns. They don't want just the assault rifles, they want everything. The 6-shooters, the bolt action rifles that are used for hunting, they want it all. That's not the case. And it never will be the case. The Second Amendment is etched in stone. It's solid. It's there. It can't be taken away. Assault weapons, on the other hand, should only be used in combat. And you look at American society today, that's what is happening. We've turned everyday communities, everyday American life, the ways of American life, into a combat zone. The assault weapons that we have today as American citizens, they're not being used on foreign enemies. We're using them right here inside our borders, right here inside our boundaries, on each other. But a simple vote can take all that away. I feel like as a nation, we owe it to this latest school shooting before another one happens, to rethink the ban on assault weapons. I'm appealing to my senators now. I'm appealing to Congress, period. And as we know, after all these shootings, nothing has happened. So we have to pretty much understand that it's going to fall on deaf ears again. The Republicans are not trying to hear it. So we have to vote them out at the state level, because this is where the most of the havoc is being wreaked. It's not at the federal level. It's at the state level, because that's where the life of a biased, pro-Second Amendment assault weapons senator's life begins, in the Senate, at the state level. He's sent to Washington, D.C. from his state. Citizens of each state, to vote or not to vote. The Republic is dependent on you. It's time to take a stand for democracy. We're going to further continue this discussion this evening, but we wanted to come on this morning and give you a brief summary of the consequences, which you already know. But that is the question before you, to vote or not to vote. And we all understand the consequences thereof, whatever choice you choose to make. But truly, we can make a difference. We must make a difference. Our survival depends on it. This fledgling democracy depends on participation from the voters, from the American voter. This is the only way it could stop. This is the only way it will stop. So until we meet again this evening, think about it long and hard. And you must cast a ballot. Either way, you get what you get. And we see where we're at. We'll see where we're at. The British are not coming, as I said. The natives are no longer restless. But yet we have assault weapons in our possession, and we're slaughtering each other. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned this evening, where we will continue further discussing the matter of voting or not to vote and the consequences thereof. Thank you, and God bless.